and I'm going to break it down so it's understandable. There's a lot of players out there, you say DPP, and they're like, what the hell did you just say? Sorry, excuse my French. But they don't understand. There are people that think eco is how much damage something does, and some people will think that how do I say this? Like they don't even know what DPS is. They just think when they hit the mob, it hits for 100 damage, so it must be good, or something like that. So I'm sure if you're like if you're an experienced player, I'm sure you've heard some of these things that people say about eco that they claim eco to be. And then if you've been around for a while, or maybe you've looked on the forums, you've seen people say things like, you've heard the myth that if your weapon has a lower damage per peck, then has a higher chance of getting a global. I've heard that too. I don't subscribe to that. I mean, how to say this? I don't believe that, you know. And I'm not going to say whether or not it's true. All I'm going to say is look at the facts. Or then somebody else will say, well, I've tested it, you know, but whatever. I'm not going to get into that. What I will get into is damage per peck. That's what this is about. So we'll talk about that. And give me a second. I'll just take a weapon. I want to take a weapon I kind of sort of know. Ooh, gotta get him. No. Okay. Here, we'll just take this gun right here. That's a good one. So when you look at this screen right here, the show detailed information on the magnifying glass, a lot of this information, not a lot, but, well, yeah, a lot of this information is not necessarily relevant. What is relevant on this? Well, we'll go down the list. Condition limit, irrelevant. Nobody cares about condition limit. The only time that's going to apply is when your gun's about to break, and if you're not regularly repairing your stuff, then, well, you're never going to need to worry about condition limit. We'll just say that. When something breaks, you just go repair it. That's all you need to do. So, condition limit, I'm saying, is irrelevant. The weight, irrelevant. Nobody cares about the weight. Nobody's going to not buy a weapon or buy a specific weapon or anything for that matter because of how much it weighs. So in this case, we're talking about a gun, and I'm going to say the weight is irrelevant. So far, everything is irrelevant. We'll keep going down the list. Item points. I have no idea what that is. I've never used that. Don't care. It's irrelevant. Tier. Okay, so tier is relevant. Yes, it is. But the relevancy on this tier thing is not very strong. So it is relevant. I'm not ruling it out. But it's just not the most important thing about the gun. It's just nice. It's a feature. That's what we'll call it. We'll say tier is a relevant feature. Okay. So we'll keep going down the list. Profession, requirement, damage. So the only thing that happens with this line right here is it's saying we're entering a new category, a list. This is going to list the damage element of the gun. So it's going to talk about damage for a minute. So that's all it is. It's labeling the next category. That's all. So we'll keep going down the list, and then we have name. And the name of this Is range laser. That's irrelevant. Okay, that's just telling. It's okay. It is relevant, but it's just telling you the category that we're talking about here. So we're talking about ranged laser damage. Let me be more specific on that real quick. I don't want to just brush over it in case somebody's watching and they don't know what it is. Whatever weapon you look at right here under the damage section right there, and it says range laser, and then in parentheses it says DMG, or whatever your weapon says, it's talking about a skill. So if I go over here to this professions, I just clicked on that star right there. So if I go to the professions, right, and then I go under the combat, I gotta make that so you can see it there. So I'm under combat, right? Well, look at this right there, ranged laser damage, exact same expert 50. So it's just that's all it is. It's talking about a skill. Okay, and it's telling you the okay. So now we know what skill it's talking about, right? And then we go down to see what skill it's talking about. This number 14 right here, it says recommended level. So that's a little bit tricky, actually. Don't just look at it and say, oh, you got to be level 14. Well, let's see. There's more to it than that. Yeah, so recommended level doesn't mean you can use your gun at that level. Hope I'm saying this right. I'm going to go with what I'm saying, but if I'm saying it wrong, you can correct me. I'm pretty sure I'm saying this right. Like 90% sure I'm saying it right. Do I have a weapon I can confirm this on? No, I didn't bring any. But anyways, so if it says recommended level 14, that doesn't mean that you're max at level 14 in the gun. I hope I didn't say that too fast for some people. Just because it says 14, you don't use it at that level. Like, let's say you're level 14, don't use the gun. Alright, that's not a smart thing to do, because you're not maxed in the gun yet. It's just what it says is actually, yes, it's incorrect. It's advising you to use your gun at level 14 if you want to get SIB. And SIB is skill increase bonus, which is like a gimmick for gaining extra skills at a higher cost. If you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. Long story short, how about I break this down really easy. If this has 14, just add 5. So 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. You can use this gun when you're level 19 and you'll be maxed, no problem. But there's a small caveat, and that is you can't just use this gun when your ranged laser damage is at 19, because you also need to be level 19 in laser sniper hit. So when both of them are level 19 or higher, you're good to go. You're maxed out. If you want, and you're like level 18 and some change, you should be okay shooting the gun, and you get a little SIB. I strongly feel that way. I'm sure many other people feel the same way. And you are paying, anyways, I said it. I said everything I said about the recommended level. I think that's pretty good. And I haven't even got into DPP, but I don't want to. I think all these little things I'm talking about are necessary to cover before we get to DPP, and I will get to it. Just bear with me. We'll get to it. If you're tracking so far, good. We'll just keep going down the list. I don't want to confuse anybody. So for this gun, you should not start using it until you're level 19. It depends on the weapon. Every weapon is different. recommended level plus 5. That's the rule of thumb. All right. Moving down the line, we have skill progress. So skill progress. Obviously, I'm higher than level 14, so it's at 100%. When you see 100% here, that means you're maxed. It won't show 100 if you're level 19 in this case. I mean, it will be 100 if you're at least level 19. So if you're level 18, this number will probably be like 90 something, 95 or something. Alright, then we have laser sniper hit. It's the exact same thing as what I just mentioned up here. It's just a requirement for hit. One's for damage, the other one's for hit. If I were to explain that any further, damage has to do with how much damage you do, and hit has to do with accuracy. I don't even think I'm saying that right. But anyways, these two numbers are required to be leveled up in order to max out your gun. Now, going down the list even further, we have skill increase bonus. So this says not anymore because I'm maxed. Once you're maxed out in the gun, it will. This is the SIB I was talking about earlier. SIB, skill increase bonus. If you're less than level, if you're level 14, it will say yes or yes on both of them. Which is that I'm calling it a gimmick because you get more skills, but there's a trade-off. You're going to be missing some of your shots more often because you're not maxed. You're going to be have less accuracy and less damage than you normally would. But you're still paying the same amount of decay. And the trade-off is you get more skills at a higher cost. So I call it a gimmick because that's not my cup of tea. I don't like that. I guess some people think it's good. Maybe it is. Maybe I don't fully comprehend the skill increase bonus. But I'm going to stay away from it. Alright, attachment skill bonus. Attachment skill bonus is when you attach things to your weapon, like this Hunir laser sight or the Jazar periscope, precision scope, it gives you a bonus there. So don't fully understand that too much, if it actually makes a difference, but yeah. I mean, I understand it to the point where, yeah, if you equip this stuff, your accuracy increases and stuff like that, but if you look at the item, it says you get attachment skill bonus 3.8, skill mod 36, but yeah, that's a little bit more advanced. And I use the highest, the biggest impact scopes I can find for a reasonable price. But so I play that game, but I don't fully comprehend its magnitude, you know. So I do believe it makes a difference, but and I push it, but I'm not entirely what's the word? I don't know. I'm not entirely like well versed in that area. It's not my expertise. So moving on. So don't think I'm saying scopes are stupid. You shouldn't use them. I'm not saying that. I'm saying use them. Go for it. But I cannot advise you on the impact that they make on lasers and stuff. So. Moving on, we are at category. So category is the type of weapon it is. This one is laser. Some other one might be BLP or swords or short blades. So just the category. Then we have ammo type, and that's the type of ammo your weapon uses to fire. In this case, it's weapon cells. Another one might be like BLP, for example. And then, yeah, universal ammo is another type, no big deal. Then we have, what is this? Ammo burn. So we were mentioning before relevant or irrelevant. This number is irrelevant. How do I say that? Like, it's alone, just looking at that number alone by itself is irrelevant. When compared to other numbers in this, when that number is put into a formula, and then the output of the formula creates a relevant number. So just looking at ammo burn 900 by itself, irrelevant. Okay. So whenever you, so if you're watching this and you have guns, whatever, when you look at those guns and you're like, oh, this one has ammo burn of only 50. This is a good gun. It's not, because I can't say it's not a good gun, but let me explain this. So if you have a gun that has like 50 ammo burn, and you think that's good because it's cheap. Well, what if the weapon has poor decay? So that's another variable you're not taking into consideration. So that's why I'm saying ammo burn by itself is completely irrelevant. It's only relevant when compared to all the other numbers. So we'll get to that. Don't worry about ammo burn for right now. Durability, irrelevant. By itself, it's irrelevant. Same thing as ammo burn. Attacks per minute. Attacks per minute by itself is relevant. And let me explain why. Because when you're looking for something like a finisher, and a finisher is, let me just show you my finisher. This is the finisher I use. I have a couple different finishers, but this is one of them. It's the Corrosive Attack Nano Chip V10, and the attack per minute is, where is it at? Right here, 67. So it's got a 67 attacks per minute. It's higher. Yeah, I'm not going to get into finishers right now. It's a whole other topic. But just remember that attacks per minute is a relevant number. But I'll explain that in a different video or something. Skill mod percent, that has to do with your scopes. We're just going to say it's irrelevant for right now. Damage penetration, that's just the type of damage, irrelevant. Unless you're trying to do damage to a specific mob. Impact, irrelevant. Burn, irrelevant. Interval is your damage interval, irrelevant. It's another one of those numbers that needs to be compared with needs to be put into a formula to give you a relevant number. So alone by itself, irrelevant. This number right here, if you look at this number, it's not going to tell you anything. It's not going to tell you your DPS. It's not going to tell you your DPP. Just by itself, it needs to be, DPP and DPS are ratios. They're numbers compared to numbers that create an outcome. It's a formula. So by itself is irrelevant. Range is by itself relevant. It's doesn't need to be compared with anything else. It just tells you how far you can shoot or attack. It's just the range of your weapon. This has 78 meters, so I could shoot this one, and I can probably shoot that guy over there too with this gun. Hit ability is 10, and then crit ability is 10. So there's two numbers here. It says 10.0/10.0. And what that means is 10 out of 10. That's like 100% hit ability. If it was not 100% hit ability, it would say something like 9 out of 10. That would be a 90% hit ability. Or 9 out of 10 shots will hit. So these ones are obviously maxed out. Those numbers would be smaller if you were not fully skilled in your weapon, if you weren't maxed. And moving down the list, we have all these tiers. So all these numbers, basically, you can read it right here. It says the tier increase rate for this item, tiers, items tiers. The value is related to each tier, where a higher value is better. Usually when you have a number that's 100 or higher, that's pretty good. Now, let's get into DPP. Sorry, I know this is the long version, but I don't really care because I'm going to be killing these dragons and devils for a while tonight, so if you got time for the long version, you'll probably learn something out of this. Now, DPP is a formula. You don't even need to know the formula. I don't even know the formula. Actually, I have an Excel spreadsheet that'll do it, but I don't even use the Excel spreadsheet. Okay. All you got to do, assuming the website is operational, it's been having difficulty lately. All you got to do is go to intropedia.com. Here, I'll type that out in case you don't understand what I'm saying. You just got to go to www.intropedia.com, right? That's the website. And when you go to intropedia.com, I'll go to it right now just so I can navigate you guys through this. Or you could just Google Intropedia weapon compare and click on like the first link, but I'll help you along the way. If you've never been to intropedia.com, when you go there, on the main page, right, there'll be a list of stuff on the left, and in that list you'll see some blue boxes, and at the end of the first blue box it says weapons. Click on that. So you click on weapons, right, and it loads up. You see like a list of weapons and stuff. Don't let that confuse you. Don't click on anything yet. In the first section towards the upper middle of the screen, you see some tools section, and in there you have some tools. The first tool is armor versus weapons, and the second tool is weapon compare. You want to click on weapon compare. That is the powerful tool that we're talking about here, and they're pretty good at updating the list. It has pretty much every weapon in there and every amp. Not everything is up to date, but 95% of everything in there is up to date. And I've been using this. This is probably the best tool out there you can use right now for calculating DPP. So stay with me on this. If you're following along so far, if this is all new to you, you're in for some good education. So if you're with me so far, you should have your tools weapon compare window open, right? We'll leave it at that. And then let's do this. Let's find out what the eco is of this gun. We'll do a tutorial on it. I'll walk you through it. Alright, so we're gonna look up the eco of this gun right here. And to do that, all you gotta do is in that first box right there, it says weapon at the upper left portion of the screen, and it's like below weapon you see select type, select class. Don't select anything. All you gotta do is type below that where it says select type and select class. There's a little bar where you can type stuff in. So in that bar, just type in, you can type in like S1X3, right? You just type that, S1X3. And then there's 3 guns that come up, and you want to click on the second one, which is Ozippian LR S1X3, right? So now you have this exact gun right here selected. And that's this gun with nothing on it so far, because we haven't done that yet. So if you're looking at just this gun by itself, like if I take off all these amps, I don't need to get into all the details. All we're talking about is DPP. And if you look on the right hand side where it says economy, not the stats section, there's another one below that says stats. But right above stats, at the very end of economy, you see damage /PEC. That is the damage per PEC ratio, DPP. And to the far right there in bold, it says 2.846. So if I take this gun and I remove all these accuracy enhancers, I remove all these attachments, and I just shoot this gun by itself, the DPP will be 2.846, which by the way is absolutely atrocious. If I were to shoot this, I would never shoot this gun without any of this stuff on here. I would never use any weapon in this game that had a 2.846 DPP. That's pathetic. And if you're using something that has that, now that you know, please stop using it for the sake of your PED card. Well, let's continue on. No worries. I just wanted to stress the importance of. I wanted to stress that 2.846 is terrible. But we're gonna fix that. So you have everything where it's at. Hope you haven't clicked anything yet and you're still following along. If you are, great. You're going to learn some more stuff here. Go ahead and put a, if you scroll, go to there's a section that says amplifier. If you can see that, find it. It's just to the left of economy. It says amplifier, right? Inside that section you can scroll down. You can pick stuff, but don't pick anything yet. I want you to pick, so before we do anything, this is how you find out the biggest amp the weapon can handle. So I'm just going to click on A204, Omegaton A204 hypercharged. It really doesn't matter. So if you're following along, do the same thing. Click on Omegaton A204 hypercharged, right? Now that you have it selected, right, you should see a red number on the right hand side there under damage. Under damage it creates a red number that says plus 18. You see that? That red number is really important. This means that the biggest amp you can use is something that goes up to 18. Anything bigger is too big. So now that we know 18 is the biggest, and if you look at your A204 hypercharged, to the right of it, it has in parentheses a number 32, right? So that's the number we're talking about. 32 is obviously bigger than 18. We're talking about the damage, adding the amount of damage it adds. The maximum amount of damage you can add to this specific gun here is 18. Okay, hope I haven't lost you so far. Which, by the way, is Pretty sure it's like, never mind. I'll discuss that later. That's too much. Alright, so now that we know the biggest number is 18, right? We're going to go down to the right amp, the correct amp, which if you scroll up just a little bit, you can see Omegaton A106. Well, look at that. It just happens to be 18. Perfect. That's not too big, not too small. It's just right. Let's put an A106 on there. Oh, so if you put an A106 on an LR-S1X3, eco becomes 2.957. That's not very good, but that's good eco. That's like, how do I say this? If you're going to use a weapon in this game, you should strive to be in the 2.95 or higher DPP. It's a good eco. It's not great, but it's good. It's acceptable. It's something hunt worthy. It's usable. As you can see, I have Omegaton A106 on this gun. That is the amp for this gun. Anything less would be less eco, and it's not acceptable. Anything more would be too eco, and that's not acceptable. So this is like pretty much the only amp anybody should be using on this gun. A105 is not cool. Alright, so we know that 2.95 plus is good. I'll put that up here. Good. See that? 2.95 plus is good. Actually, let me be a little bit less strict on that. 2.90 plus is good. It's acceptable. When you start talking about 2.89 and below, that's not good. How do I say that? That's like average or below average, because there's so many items in this game that give you 2.9 plus eco. You just gotta pay attention. You can find it. So I do not recommend shooting anything that has a 2.9 below 2.9 eco. Let me put DPP. That's the ratio we're talking about. Alright. And let's see. I think so let's take DPP, a little damage per peck, a little bit further, one step further. I'm not going to give another example. I might. I don't know. Ooh, I just want to tame them. What would be great eco? Let's see. Great eco. 2.9. Yep. 2.95. No. 2.96 plus DPP. 6 plus. Whoops. Plus DPP equals great. Right? This will be plus. So if you're getting 2.96 or higher, that's great. Anything above 3.0 plus DPP equals outstanding. That should be your goal, to get in the 3.0 plus DPP range. Once you're in the 3.0 or higher category, you'll more often than not start seeing profitable returns on your runs. And that's my take on it. I mean, it has been true for me, and if you've seen some of my other videos, I've proven that. So I think I pretty much discussed everything that can, maybe not everything, but if you followed along with everything I was talking about in here, you should have a much better understanding of damage per peck. Feel free to go back and replay anything you didn't quite understand, or follow the tutorial I went through with this Ozpine LRS1X3. And there are plenty of eco guns you can get in the game if you're a noob starting out. You can get the Buchan's spare rifle for free, almost free, and you can put an A101 on it, which is like pretty 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 eco. You shouldn't be using the Buchan spare rifle without an A101. That's what I'm saying. If you have this gun, you need to get A101. Okay. Here's some more eco guns, like a HK 110, and this needs an amp. It's supposed to be like, I have it on something else, which is, I think I put it on a Jam Joom or something. I don't know. But you can play with all this stuff on this is another eco example. Chan S1X1 needs an A101, but I have it on the Buchan spare rifle right now. But you can play with all this stuff on Intropedia Weapon Compare tool. Try to mix and match, make your own eco, find your own eco stuff. I advise staying away from the L guns as much as possible unless you can get them for close to TT. I hope this has been helpful to you. Give me a thumbs up and a like if it was useful. And have a eco hunt. Thanks for watching. Happy Gamer out.